Hey all, Heretic here, and today as we swim through the Battlegrounds, we're going to talk about Nagas. We're going to talk about how we build the tribe, how we use their special abilities, and how we can make Nagas work as a whole to win us some games. Let's jump right in. So right off the bat, let's start with Naga's special ability, Spellcraft. The way this works is at the beginning of every turn, for every Spellcraft minion you have, they're going to generate one of their set spells for you to use during your turn. So, important difference from this in other things you generate in your hand. You can generate more than your hand size of 10 with Spellcraft. If you do, say you generate 11 spells. What that means is when you make room in your hands for whatever you get rid of from your hand, the extra Spellcraft will then appear. So you don't discard Spellcraft like you do other things. Important thing to remember though, if you do fill your hand with things that generate Spellcraft, say during the combat, and then you generate something that's permanent, that permanent thing will be discarded because the Spellcraft is already there taking its place. Spellcraft generated after the fact are fine, but Spellcraft generated first can be a problem depending on what kind of hero you're playing, what kind of minions you have going on. Just make sure that you have room for all the things you're going to make. But typically, you're going to get spells first, then Spellcraft, so it's not a problem, but there are scenarios where it can get in each other's way. Try not to discard permanent important things. Spellcrafts do a lot of different things, from say summoning an extra minion, giving you taunt and stats, giving you just raw stats, giving you scaling stats, giving you stealth, giving you divine shield, giving you spell generation. You can get a lot of cool things out of Spellcraft. This is a really cool mechanic that only Naga have, and it's kind of fun that you can build up this whole thing with generating even more spells than you usually have and just going nuts during your turn trying to cycle them all out. Well, now we know what Spellcraft is, let's go take a look at the minions that make it, how we can win, and what we can do with it. Now that we know what Spellcraft is, let's go look at the minions to see what we can do with it. Okay, let's start with direction minions. Let's talk about the minions that say we might be playing Naga, and the minions that are definitely we're winning with Naga, potentially. We're going to start with the Lava Lurker. Now, this is really cool because it's at tier 2, and it is a simple card that can combo all the way to the end of the game. And even if you're not playing Naga, finding this combo can be very early power to help you get a win. Lava Lurker is a tier 2 2/5. The first Spellcraft cast on this each turn is permanent. That means regardless of what you give it, be it summon extra minions, extra stats, just anything, divine shield, it's going to have it forever. Now, mind you, it's only the first one you cast on it each turn, but that is a big deal. Making these spells permanent really adds to the value of this minion because, say, I don't know, on turn 3, when you buy the Lava Lurker, sitting next to it is a Reef Riffer. Looking at these two cards, you go, oh, well, I'm a Naga player. No, you're not a Naga player yet. You have a powerful combo to get you to the later part of the game. This is definitely good tempo, easy synergy that you want to keep. But that doesn't mean you're a Naga player yet. But this is a good indication that you might be. And when you see other Naga that synergize with it, you might want to pick them up as you go until you find another win condition that's better. But if you couple this with something like Reef Riffer, which is a tier 2 1/1 Spellcraft, give a minion stats equal to your tier until next turn. Well, yeah, if it went away every turn, it wouldn't be great. But if you're playing it on your Lava Lurker, it's permanent. And every time you tier, Reef Riffer's Spellcraft gets better because it's based on your tier. So that just means it's scaling up the whole time. And yeah, if you were just playing the Reef Riffer buff on the Reef Riffer, it really wouldn't be great. It's still not bad, but it's not great. But if you're playing it on a Lava Lurker and they stick around forever and it's scaling up every time you use it, and then whatever other Spellcraft you transition to, those stats are there. That is phenomenal. That is going to give you turns of growth to give you a minion that is going to stay with you for a long time. The only thing I caution people to do against with Lava Lurker is to not taunt it. Now, you can taunt it, no doubt about it. In the early game, you start sticking taunt on this, extra health, constantly buffing it. It's going to be hard to kill, but in the late game, it becomes a liability. If it's a huge minion with taunt, it's now very targetable with Venom, Bramble Witches. There's just lots of ways to kill it, as opposed to if it's just sitting midway through your board, maybe a 400 monster that they don't know when they can hit it and when it's going to hit them. Once it's got taunt, it's an intentional target. Just be aware you're making it vulnerable. Early tempo, a problem later. And the card that gives you your actual win condition with Naga. Yes, folks, we're not going to talk about Deep Blue. If you played Naga when Deep Blue was a thing, it is now very slow. Yes, you can show me a video where Deep Blue will make it work and you can win the game, but I can show you a video where I win with Cogwork Copter 2. That doesn't make it a good way to win the game. Slither Spear, Lord of the Gains, tier 6, 4/6 Naga. At the end of the turn, give your Naga +1/+1 for each different spell you've cast this turn. There's a lot to unpack with this. Now first, he's the Lord of Gains. This man works out, well, I'm sorry, this Naga, I don't want to species it, works out constantly, but it itself never gets bigger. It buffs everybody around it. This is your trainer. This makes your board big. Not himself. He stays as a 4/6. To be honest, when I'm playing Naga, I like to taunt him. That way, if they have a Bramble Witch, if they have Venom, it's going to bounce off him because I'll throw targeted buffs on him, but then he will just keep buffing the rest of my board and not care. And then when they throw counter minions against him to hit the rest of my board, they're bouncing off him, really not doing much, if anything. He is going to buff your board ridiculously because the important part is for each different spell you've cast this turn, not spellcraft. If it was just spellcrafts, not that great because it's hard to get enough spellcraft to make it really work. But with the spell meta, with the ability to make tons of spells in the lobby, to buy all the cheap spells you want, he's going to be throwing out a lot of buffs on your board, accumulatively. Yeah, if you do have two separate Lord of the Gains, they will buff each other, but once you triple them, they're not buffing themselves anymore, so I prefer to make these my taunt utility minions in the back. They're going to make the rest of my board good while sucking up that damage and dealing with the counter minions just to annoy my opponent. Now, obviously, if at the end of your turn you're giving buffs, you want to look at cards that can give you more value from this. So I love to use a Drakari Enchanter or a Primal Staff. When you use either one of these, because they don't stack, with the Slither Spear, it's going to double that end of turn buff. Say you cast 7 spells at a turn. Well, now he's going to give 14 buffs. You have Golden One, or if you have 2 of them, yeah, you get the idea. 28 buffs. And that's just in one turn. You can keep doing this. You can get some value. Now, the problem with this build is typically Naga need to be at tier 6 to make this work. All the really good synergy, all the really good multiple spell generation, extra spell cards are at 6. So you're not going to see this build until late game. But if you triple into this, you get the Lord of the Gains, and you have even 1, 2 other Naga, or heaven forbid, a board full of Naga, Lord of the Gains can carry you all the way to a win. All right, let's talk about some of the key minions. The Naga that are going to make your board a little better, going to help you get that win, going to be there with those win conditions to support them. First, we're going to start with the Glad-iator. The Glad-iator is a tier 3 1/1. Whenever you cast a spell, gain 1 attack. Now, your board's getting buffed through various spells you're casting all the time. You're generating your own spellcraft. Glad-iator can get really, really big. Now, the issue with Glad-iator is the health. Yeah, it's gaining attack, but if it doesn't have any health, after that Divine Shield, it's not going to be very good. So this really depends on what kind of tribes are in the lobby. Are there a lot of beasts? Are there a lot of undead? Glad-iator probably not going to do the job too well for you until the later game when your Lord of Gains has buffed up its health. By then, it's not going to be enough because the undead's going to have too much attack. But in the right lobby, people are running big Murlocs. Are they running big Elementals? Glad-iator can definitely do the job quite effectively. Next would be the Daggerspine Thrasher, tier 3 3/5. Whenever you cast a spell, gain Divine Shield, Wind Fury, or Venomous until next turn. Once again, situationally very good. Now, having Venom, obviously, against big tribes is going to be nice, but at the same time, it does have Wind Fury, so you can get value against beasts or against undead just because you're going to get those 2 hits guaranteed because of the Wind Fury. So there's definitely some value in this one, even in those tribes that are not the greatest for it to fight against. It shines against big stats. I consider this one much more versatile, and I love putting it on my board. Why not put 2? Once again, you're generating a lot of spells, you're casting a lot of spells. Let's get double Divine Shield, Wind Fury, Venom. If you triple this one, those buffs are permanent. So if you have a golden Daggerspine, you cast those 3 spells, you've got it forever. You don't need to cast anymore. More useful for a menagerie build if something like that is the case, but it is nice to know that they are permanent when that happens. Typically, the only time if I'm playing a Naga board, I'll triple this, is if I see 2 in the shop. So I've already got 2 on my board. I'll buy 1, triple it, and then I'll pick up another one. just for the extra triple for an extra spell cast. Next up is Glow Scale. Tier 5, 4/6 Naga. Haunt, Spellcraft, give a minion Divine Shield until next turn. Folks, it's a Divine Shield generator that you can target on anything you want. It's really easy to figure out why this is a damn good card. Get the Glow Scale, throw that buff where you need it. Do you have a Lava Lurker? Make sure that first spell you cast one turn is Glow Scale, because then you've got permanent Divine Shield on it, and now you can throw it around to everything else in your board. You don't have to worry about the Lava Lurker anymore for that. Next up, we have the Tier 5, 5/7 Critter Wrangler. Whenever you cast a spell on a minion, give it +1/+2. Well, this one's important. It doesn't say Spellcraft, it's spell. Critter Wrangler I will use in my Naga builds, usually as a splash in. It's not usually a permanent minion because it's not generating any spells. It's giving me a good buff. I prefer to have it in a menagerie style board where I'm generating, say, blood gems, and I'm getting this additional buff, because any spell you cast on a targeted minion is going to get this additional 1/2 buff. So even if your blood gems are only 1/1, this is going to give an additional +1/+2 to those. Now, as a Naga board, you're still making a lot of spells, so it's still very useful. So it's still a very good target. I just usually don't keep it long term. It's just good power. If it's, say, a bad triple, you still can get good tempo out of this if you have some spell generation. Next up, we have the Tier 5, 3/3 Corrupted Myrmidon. Start of combat, double this minion's stats. Well, if you already have a Critter Wrangler, or you already have a Lord of Gains, you're going to see where the value on this thing gets really, really big. Sit this thing there, buff it up, watch it turn into, oh, it's only 150, 150. Oh, wait, no, that means it's a 300, 300. Oh, wait, it's gold. Oh, that's a 450, 450. This thing gets completely out of control and definitely shines in lobbies where there's not a lot of venom. But wow, it can get really big and it can truly carry the day for you. So definitely Corrupted Myrmidon. Finally, of the key minions, I'm going to say the Tier 6, 5/8 Savjz the Vindictive. Spellcraft, discover a tavern spell. Well, you need spells to cast. This is a spellcraft that would count as a trigger for your Lord of the Gains. Then it is a spell that might give you another minion, that might give you money, that might refresh your shop with something you need. There's a lot of value with Savjz. Definitely in a late game Naga board, rolling along, this is a great card to have going, and you get a big win. While this might not in any way give you the win, it is going to give you extra power to what you're already doing, so you cement that win. This is just a great addition to having Lord of the Gains. And folks, hey, if you like these videos, if you are learning, please consider hitting like and subscribe. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. This helps me get better at the game. This helps me grow, and it's a lot of fun. But I also like to see numbers go up. So the more of us there are, the better it just feels. And if it's making this game more enjoyable for you, please consider liking, subscribing, comment, all that good stuff, because it really does help grow the channel. All right, let's look at which heroes can play Nagas really effectively and what you might want to do with them. First, let's start with Doc Holiday. Dr. Holiday is get a random tavern spell for 1 gold hero power. Well, especially in the later game, as you are using more spell-based buffing, be it your Critter Wrangler or your Lord of Gains, you're getting a lot of value out of this 1 gold to get a spell. And it's random. Yeah, you might get a tier 1 gold spell, but you also might get a tier 6 gold spell. So while that pendulum can swing really far, the benefit for 1 gold is easy to justify in a Naga board. Dr. Holiday will do a good job for you. And while I don't usually play tribe-based heroes too often, in the case of the Naga ones, they're actually not bad if you're going to play Naga, or they could just do something else and ignore completely the Naga thing and still do pretty effective. Lady Vash's hero power is Relics of the Deep. For 1 gold, discover a spellcraft spell of your tavern tier or lower. Its effect is permanent. So that's a big deal. Whatever you're gonna cast, be it summon crabs, extra stats, divine shield, stealth, permanent. That can work with any tribe. Yeah, you're playing Naga, divine shield, permanent, great. You're also playing a beast board and you've got a Titus Rivendare, permanent stealth is not a bad thing either. So there's a lot of value in using Lady Vash in any build, but obviously with Naga, casting spells, 1 gold for a spellcraft is pretty damn good. And now we're gonna dive into Queen Azshara. Queen Azshara has a 2-part hero power, so you have to unlock it first, but it's not too hard to unlock, usually about turn 7, depending how lucky you are. You get Azshara's Ambition. This is passive. When your warband reaches 25 total attack, begin your Naga Conquest. Naga Conquest is for 1 gold, discover a Naga. Okay, I don't care what board you're playing, what tribe you got, for 1 gold to discover a minion is good. And if a lot of them just happen to say give you a spellcraft that might be useful for whatever build you're doing, that's not bad. Obviously, if you're playing Naga, it's a lot more valuable, but it can work with any damn build. It doesn't really matter, because if your board's perfect and you don't need it, just don't hit the button. Don't worry about it. But if you can cycle, getting the random Divine Shield, getting the random Stealth, can't really go wrong. Let's talk spells. We have a lot with Naga, but what spells are good for Naga? Well, first we're going to start with the 2 ones we always have to say any guide build, and that is going to be Lost Staff of Hamul and Planar Telescope. Why, you ask me? Because they give us targeted discovery. And even if they're not a triple, even if it's something completely random they give us, well, they're gonna give us spellcraft almost always. Almost, there are bad discovers, which is going to enable all the other things we do. So those 2 spells are always good. And then any spell. It doesn't matter. Anything. Cheaper, actually, the better, especially if you're running a Lord of the Gain style build. Because, hey, all you need to do is cast a spell, and he buffs your board. Pretty damn easy. So, which spell is good with Naga? All of them. The cheaper, the better. And that's it. That's Naga. That's how you build them. That's how you play them. That's the many multitudes of spells you cast. Naga are a lot of fun. Gone are the days where you had to sit on tier 4 and just cast Deep Blue over and over again, which in itself was interesting in a way because you could generate a lot of copies with it, but it was kind of boring. Now you get to go all the way to tier 6. What a novel idea. You get to get some fun minions and you get to cycle more interesting spells and do more fun things. Naga are a lot of fun and definitely worth your time to figure out how to play. Spend some time, cast those spells, get it. You'll have no problem. Just give it a couple tries. You'll get there. And hey, thanks for watching all. I super appreciate it. I love doing this and I can't do it without you. If I don't see you in the Battlegrounds, have yourself a great day. Until then, later.